All right, let's get started. Welcome to the fourth week of Get Hooked on Strategy with me, LT. This is the weekly check-in where I am going through my strategic plan and sharing it with you so that we can make strategy a habit and not a chore. And I'm going to do this in 5 minutes or less. So I will, as always, set my timer. Or just hit end. And let's start with our calendar for this week. So last week we looked at our strategic advantages and challenges. We had gone back, and let me do my screen sharing so that you can see what I'm looking at. Share. Okay. So on the calendar, you'll see over here, the challenge and advantages was actually scheduled for the beginning of the month, but I had skipped it. So that is a great reason for having these check-ins so that we don't let these things go by for months and months on end. And then we are now down here to the last week of January. Oh my goodness. And we are doing this week a risk review, and that's actually last Friday. So we're going to try to get on a better schedule here. Having most of my strategy activities on Fridays and then checking in on Mondays is putting me right in the middle of 2 different weeks. So homework for this week is actually going to cover the 2 weeks. If you have been following along, I did my risk review already, and I have a template that I'm going to share with you. It has 3 different levels on here. So if you are, let's see, actually it's 2 different levels, sorry. The first page here is a sample list. So if you've never done a risk event before, or registry, it's a little bit challenging to come up with what the potential risks might be. And then, so this is just an overview of some of the things that get your brain moving and think about what you could put in here. The next one is the simple one. So this is for a sole proprietor, an artist, someone who doesn't have a team to help them with and doesn't have someone assigned to address risks as they are triggered. The third tab here is a full-blown risk registry with the event, the cause and effect, the impact it may have. And so this would be for someone who has a dedicated person who can monitor these things. And it has responsible persons and interviews, interval checks. So I'm going to share that in the description in YouTube. And let's see. Also from last week, I added a monthly, see here on the 31st, a data entry, because I realized that I have been slacking on entering my KPIs, my key performance indicators, and my social media numbers. So I've not been entering or being very up to date on entering my updates on followers, my sales numbers, and things like that. So that will be homework for this week as well. And then I did do my Friday check expenses, which means my transaction reviews. And then we have comps and Bennies evaluations. So that, if you go back to the strategic planning tracking sheet, there is a page for that. Benches, I call them comps and Bennies and benches and comps interchangeably. These are where we're looking at other companies. I don't like to say competitors because really no one is your competitor. You either do something different or better than someone else. If you're doing the exact same thing, that would be really strange. You are a different person, and even if you're the same customer base and the same product, there's still going to be nuances that make you different, and you can learn from each other. So that's why I go with comparisons instead. It also makes for a less hostile working environment. Line here is your sales activity. So the very first column A, sales activity. If you have, like I have photography and I have consulting, so I might have a different line here. And then I have the company that is a comparable. So these are other photographers maybe in Syracuse area. Other photographers are doing what I like to do. I have their website, whether they are a benchmark, difference between a benchmark and a comparison. So a benchmark is someone who's setting the bar, who's doing what you want to do, perhaps better than you, maybe a future mentor, maybe someone you just keep an eye on to see how they are improving. We don't copy these people, but we learn from them. And then why I chose them, what it was that they were doing well, or things that I think they're not doing well, so I can avoid doing that myself. You can change these if you want to change from Twitter followers to Facebook or other social media or some other measure that you can compare against them to see if you're doing in performance-wise the same or better, and if it's an area you want to improve, the ideas that you've got from them, and then some notes. And this is really important because, like I said, it saves you from maybe recreating the wheel, or it might spark some ideas for you. And if you've never looked, you might be doing something that somebody else failed at completely, and you might be on the same path. So it's good to know. And again, all of this stuff that's included here in the strategic plan are things that high-performing organizations do, and one of them is benchmark other high performers. So that's my 5 minutes, and we have our homework. Check the description for the templates. I'm going to make the calendar available, but you have to request access to it. I'm not making it public. So if you'd like that, please send me your email. And with that, I would like to say have a great week and keep on making strategy a habit. And I'll see you next week.